April 6, 1862, 5:47 a.m. A 39-year-old man wakes up to a sound that would change his life forever. It wasn't hunting rifles. It wasn't fireworks. It was the beginning of something no one in America had ever witnessed before. His name was Ulysses Grant. In 48 hours, he would see things that would transform him from a failed leather goods salesman into the man who would save the Union. But first, he would have to survive hell on earth. What he saw in those 2 days at Shiloh isn't in the history books, but it is forever etched into the soul of America. Grant sleeps in a farmhouse 9 miles from the camp. His legs still ache from a horse accident the previous week. He is a general who can barely walk. 5:47 a.m. The sound echoes across the Tennessee fields. Grant sits up in bed. Mary, his wife, is still sleeping beside him. He knows this sound. He served in Mexico. But this is different. It's closer. More intense. He limps to the window. The horizon is red. It's not the sunrise. Grant rushes into his uniform. His hands are shaking, not from fear, but from urgency. He knows something terrible is happening to his men. 9 miles. Grant rides as if the life of the Union depends on it. And it does. With every mile, the sound gets louder. More chaotic. They aren't organized shots. It's pure panic. 7:30 a.m. Grant arrives at Pittsburgh Landing. What he sees makes him stop for a moment. Thousands of soldiers are running toward the river. They are not advancing to battle. They are fleeing from it. "My God," he whispers. "It's a massacre." Grant dismounts. His injured leg almost throws him off. He grabs the arm of a panicked soldier. "Soldier, where's your regiment?" The young man looks at him with empty eyes. "Blood on his uniform, we don't know if it's his." "Dead, sir. All dead. They came from every side." It was like hell had opened up. Grant looks around. More than 10,000 men are huddled on the riverbank. His men. His responsibility. And all of them are running from something he hasn't seen yet. The failures of his entire military life don't compare to this moment. He has 2 options: join the flight or walk straight into hell. 8:15 a.m. Grant mounts again. But this time, he rides in the opposite direction of his men. He's going toward the battle. With every step, the scenery changes. First, wounded soldiers stumbling backward. Then, dead soldiers. Then, things that should never exist. Trees cut in half by cannon fire. Riderless horses running in circles. And blood. So much blood. Grant stops his horse. In front of him, a clearing that was a camp yesterday. Today, it's a cemetery. Hundreds of destroyed tents. Equipment scattered. And bodies. So many bodies that Grant needs a moment to grasp the scale. "Jesus Christ," he whispers. And for the first time in his adult life, it's not a curse. It's a prayer. Grant finds General Sherman in the middle of the chaos. Sherman is wounded, blood dripping from his hand, but still in command. "Grant. Thank God you're here. They caught us sleeping. Johnston attacked with 40,000 men before breakfast." Sherman points in one direction. "We lost the camp. We lost half our men. And they're coming for more." Grant looks in the indicated direction. A line of Confederate soldiers advances like a gray wave. Shouting. Shooting. Killing everything in their path. How many men do we have left? Maybe 15,000 fit to fight. Johnston has 40,000. Grant does the math. It's suicide. It's impossible. We will hold out until the last bullet. Sherman looks at him as if he has gone mad. "Grant, we can't win this. We're not trying to win today, Sherman. We're trying not to lose." What happens in the next 6 hours will transform Grant forever. He rides from position to position. Not as a distant commander, but as a soldier. He is in the middle of the fire. In the middle of death. In a clearing, he sees a Confederate soldier, no older than 16, fallen on a Union bayonet. His eyes are still open. 50 yards ahead, a Union soldier, the same age, with his chest torn open by a musket shot. His last words still echo in the air, "Mom." Grant stops his horse. For the first time, he truly sees war. Not strategies. Not maps. Not glory. Boys killing boys. And he is responsible for it. 2:30 p.m. The Union line is broken into 3 pieces. The Confederates advance for the final blow. Grant is alone on a small hill, watching his men retreat. His military career is over. The Union may be lost. But then he sees something. In the middle of the chaos, an Ohio regiment is not retreating. They are dying, but they are not running. A sergeant with a dangling arm is still shouting orders. Grant rides up to them. "Sergeant, why didn't you retreat?" The man looks at him, blood running down his forehead. "Sir, General Grant told us to hold this position. So we'll hold it until General Grant tells us otherwise." In this moment, Grant understands. These men are not fighting for the Union. They are not fighting for glory. They are fighting for trust. Trust in him. And he cannot disappoint them. 3 p.m. Grant makes the most important decision of his life. He will not retreat. He will not surrender. He will do something no American general has ever tried. He will turn a defeat into a victory through sheer force of will. Grant gathers all the surviving commanders. Sherman, McClernand, Prentiss, all wounded, all defeated. "Gentlemen, we will attack at dawn." Total silence. General, Sherman whispers, "We have 15,000 men. They have 40,000. It's suicide." "No, Sherman. It's war. And war isn't about numbers. It's about who is willing to pay the highest price." Grant looks at each of them. Johnston thinks he has defeated us. Thinks we'll run away during the night. He's wrong. We're going to show him what it means to fight Americans. The night of April 6th to 7th, 1862. Grant doesn't sleep. He walks the battlefield. Among the dead. Among the wounded. Among the men who trust him to lead them home. In a makeshift first aid area, he stops beside a soldier with his chest torn open. The young man can't be more than 18. "General," the boy whispers. "Are we going to win tomorrow?" Grant kneels beside him. "Yes, son. We are going to win." "Promise?" Grant looks into the boy's eyes. Eyes that might be closing forever in a few hours. "I promise." The soldier smiles and closes his eyes. Grant stays there for a few more minutes, listening to the boy's faint breathing. In this moment, something dies inside Grant. The man who failed at everything in life. The leather goods salesman. The failed farmer. And something else is born. Someone who cannot fail. Cannot give up. Because men like this boy depend on him. 5 a.m., April 7th. Grant hasn't slept, but he isn't tired. He has devised an impossible strategy. With Buell's reinforcements arriving overnight, he now has 25,000 men. Still outnumbered, but with something he didn't have yesterday. Absolute certainty. Grant rides to the front line. His men see him coming. Yesterday, they were running away. Today, they are ready to die for him. "Soldiers," his voice echoes across the field. Yesterday, the enemy surprised us. Today, it's our turn. A roar rises from the Union line. It's not fear. It's not despair. It's pure rage. Attack. What happens in the next 8 hours will redefine war in America. Grant doesn't command from a distance. He leads from the front. In the middle of the fire. In the middle of death. But something has changed. His movements are calculated. His orders are precise. Every decision is made not with emotion, but with cold determination. 9 a.m. The Confederate line begins to give way. 10:30 a.m. Johnston, the Confederate commander, is killed by a Union sharpshooter. 11:45 a.m. The original Union camp is retaken. 1:30 p.m. The Confederates begin their retreat. Grant won. But the victory cost 23,000 casualties, more Americans killed in 2 days than in all previous U.S. wars combined. Late afternoon, April 7th. The battlefield is silent. Grant walks alone among the dead. Confederates and Unions side by side. In death, there are no uniforms. Just boys far from home. He stops beside the wounded soldier from last night. The 18-year-old boy. His eyes are closed forever. Grant kneels. Removes his own hat. I kept my promise, son. We won. But as he whispers these words, Grant understands something terrible. They won the battle. But they lost something more. America's innocence died at Shiloh. And the man Grant was before also died. The failed leather goods salesman no longer exists. In his place, something else was born. Someone who understands that true victory isn't about defeating the enemy. It's about being willing to pay any price to protect what you love. In the following days, Grant writes to his wife, Julia, "The Battle of Shiloh has shown me that this war will be longer and bloodier than any of us imagined. I saw so many dead that I stopped counting. But I also saw something else. I saw ordinary men do extraordinary things. I saw soldiers fight not for glory, but for each other. I saw that real courage is not about not being afraid. It's about being afraid and fighting anyway." This letter never made it into the history books. But it reveals the secret of Grant's transformation. Shiloh didn't teach him how to win battles. It taught him how to carry the weight of victory. In the following months, Grant will be promoted. He will win Vicksburg. He will become Supreme Commander of the Union. He will defeat Lee. But it all began at Shiloh. Not with a glorious victory. With a defeat he refused to accept. Journalists of the time would say that Grant changed after Shiloh. That he became colder. More calculating. More ruthless. They are right. But they don't understand why. Grant learned at Shiloh that war isn't about strategy. It's about responsibility. Responsibility for the men who trust you. Responsibility for the families who will never see their children again. And when you carry that weight, you can't afford to fail. What Grant saw at Shiloh wasn't just death and destruction. He saw that great leaders aren't born ready. They are forged in moments when everything seems lost. He saw that real courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep going when fear is all you feel. He saw that true responsibility means being willing to bear the weight of the consequences of your decisions, even when those consequences are measured in human lives. And most importantly, he saw that sometimes, to save what you love, you have to be willing to become someone you might not recognize in the mirror. Today, when leaders face impossible decisions, they face the same dilemma as Grant at Shiloh. The difference between failure and greatness isn't in avoiding difficult moments. It's in how you respond when those moments arrive. Grant entered Shiloh as a man who had failed at almost everything in life. He left there as someone who would save a nation. The transformation didn't happen because of a brilliant strategy or natural courage. It happened because, in the darkest moment, when everything seemed lost, he made a simple decision, not to give up. Not on his men. Not on his mission. Not on himself. And sometimes, that is the only difference between history remembering your name or forgetting it forever. If you've made it this far, it's because you understand that great historical moments are not about dates and places. They are about choices. Choices made by ordinary people in extraordinary moments. Grant wasn't special when he arrived at Shiloh. He was just a 39-year-old man who had failed at almost everything. But when 15,000 men needed someone to trust, he decided to be worthy of that trust. And that made all the difference. Next time you face your own Shiloh, that moment when everything seems lost, remember, great leaders are not those who never fail. They are those who refuse to stop trying. Next week, we'll discover how a 30-second decision by Robert E. Lee changed the fate of the war, and why he carried the weight of that choice until the day he died.